We've talked a lot about Saiyan forms on this channel, thanks to my videos about their history and more obscure forms. I realized though that a video breaking down the different Saiyan forms could be a really fun idea. And I'm not talking about just going through Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan Blue, something simple like that. Oh no, we're gonna go through every Saiyan form I can find. Yup, that's right. The manga, anime, video games, movies. I did my best to make sure nothing was left out. I might retread some info I said in some of the other videos, but I tried to bring something unique to every single one, so you won't want to miss them. Now that we got all that squared away, let's begin. So for this video, I made an OC based on a character I made in Xenoverse 2 years ago named Gord. With him, it'll be easier to introduce to you the different forms and a way to easily show their differences. Cause it'd be kinda weird if I just made Goku go use every form or Vegeta. So this will be a little easier for what I'm trying to do, you know? Anyways, you see the timestamp, this video is gonna be long enough as is, so let's get right into it. And to start off, we're gonna go with the most underrated form, base. Take it easy, put your pitchforks down for a second and listen to what I gotta say. I know, base isn't a transformation, but this video isn't called Every Saiyan Transformation Explained, now is it? I'm gonna be including every form I can think of, and there's no state more utilized and frankly more important to a Saiyan than their base form. The base is the normal state a Saiyan is born into, requiring no ki or strain to maintain. Therefore, it's essentially the most efficient form of them all. Even in this state though, Saiyans are capable of insane feats. They can withstand extremely cold temperatures, as Bardock and Goku show. While they can't leave a planet's atmosphere, debatably, they can still withstand the cold temperatures nearing space. Though it seems like they need something to get their blood pumping first before this resistance activates. Despite being overall weak relative to the rest of the universe, Saiyan babies are still expected to survive on and conquer weak worlds. Thanks to being raised on planet Vegeta, most of them could withstand 10 times Earth's gravity and thereby gain the strength to lift things many times larger than themselves without much effort. Training can vastly increase a Saiyan's strength, especially due to a Saiyan's ability to adapt to strain and pressure, pushing them to even greater heights. This is shown to the extreme when a Saiyan recovers from a near-death experience, resulting in what's commonly referred to as a Zenkai boost. Zenkais can range anywhere from small increases in strength to completely dominating what you faced before. As Dragon Ball Super demonstrated many times though, a Saiyan can also increase their strength in the middle of the fight as they push their limits. This implies a level of natural regeneration above most races, but not to the level of beings like Namekians. It's consistent that hybrid Saiyans, at least in the case with Earthling hybrids, have insane potential. They grow in power far faster than their parents, and they can attain transformations at early ages as well. However, they can potentially retain flaws from their non-Saiyan genes, such as the case with Gohan's notoriously bad eyesight. Toriyama also said that Saiyan tails are a recessive trait, meaning Gohan's tail was actually a rarer occurrence for Saiyan hybrids, and that Goten, Trunks, and Pan are the norm. And speaking of their tails, we all know that they contain the true power of a Saiyan, enabling them to access their primal form. Sometimes it can grow back, but it seems rare for that to happen. One thing established in GT is that a Saiyan's tail provides some sort of boost or energy control function, as Goku had a much harder time using Super Saiyan 3 in his child body before growing it back. Universe 6 Saiyans also have evolved to the point where they don't have tails. It's similar to how body parts in certain creatures tend to disappear once they no longer need them. Perhaps because they don't conquer planets anymore, they outgrew the need for such a difficult to control power. Which brings us to the first Saiyan transformation. If you don't count shape-shifting techniques or being turned into carrots, this is the first natural transformation in Dragon Ball. When the full moon shines in the night sky, it produces Blutz waves at a measurement of 17 million Zeno. If a Saiyan with a tail stares at it long enough, they will take in those waves and it will create a reaction in the tail. This will cause them to become a new Zaru, or a great ape. Mighty and powerful, it pummels opponents with awesome power while retaining the user's normal speed. Stated by Vegeta to make the user 10 times stronger, this was the primary method their race used to conquer worlds they could not face normally. Paragus warned the Saiyan engineer Beats not to stare at Vampa's moon, as most Saiyans wish to avoid transforming into an uncontrollable monster. It's a last resort if the situation calls for it. I'm gonna mention the GT Perfect file guide in this video a bit, a book made to cover information about GT with a lot of extra plot details and behind the scenes information. But a heads up that a lot of the book contains wild statements not heavily supported by the show, and needs to be taken with a grain of salt. It just provides a lot of food for thought. Anyway, it speculates that in prehistory, the Saiyans were once simply the Uzaru form, and as they evolved, they took on humanoid forms. Whether or not that's true, if great apes represent the Saiyans of the past, the next form would be the foundation of Saiyan evolution going forward. Yes sir, it's the most iconic form of the series, maybe of all time, Super Saiyan. The golden hair, the piercing aqua eyes, and the vibrant yellow aura. Simple yet powerful. It doesn't get much more legendary than that, baby. And quite the legend it was, as the first Super Saiyan in known history was a man named Yamoshi. I went over his story in my Saiyan history video, so I'll give you a brief summary. On the original Saiyan homeworld of Planet Plant, there was a divide between good and evil Saiyans. Yamoshi during this conflict became the first Super Saiyan, though he may have simply been the first one in recorded legend. Though he failed to stop the evil of his homeworld, his legend would continue through Saiyan culture, even putting the fear of Saiyan God in Frieza to wipe them all out before they got too strong. Vegeta believed it was just a myth, a simple fairy tale that was more a concept than a proven fact. After many Zenkai boosts though, and witnessing Krillin's death at the hands of Frieza, Goku proved it was no mere legend. How you get this form varies. Initially, it's assumed to only be unlocked by Great Rage.
You just keep killing innocent people, one after another. Krillin! I'm truly angry!
So much, in fact, that the expression of characters morph into something more violent and hate-filled. Toriyama claimed he based Goku's stare off Bruce Lee, saying, "His eyes from right after he transforms for the first time and looks up at Frieza. I based those off Bruce Lee. Since that look of his where he glares right at you is paralyzing. That's what I wanted to do in the Frieza arc." Once Goku gave that look, as far as I was concerned, the story arc was over. I was like, they have to start fighting now? What a pain. My goal was just to get to that look. But when it actually came time to draw it, it turned out a bit different than how I imagined it. I still thought Bruce Lee looked a lot cooler. As Toriyama has clarified though, the most important factor is a Saiyan's battle power must reach a certain point. The S cells in their body can build with a gentle spirit, but the main factor is reaching a high enough level that, when angered enough, the cells explode into raw power. Goku's 100 times gravity training, or Zenkai from the healing pod, were most likely the catalyst to reach this level of power. This becomes easier for their children, as Saiyan offspring actually inherit their parents' S cells. Once a Saiyan achieves the form, they can re-enter the state without needing Rage to activate it by concentrating their ki towards points in their back. Caulifla demonstrated that if you simply utilize these points first, you can bypass the Rage requirement. Now, whether or not that's just a Universe 6 thing, or it's for all Saiyans, I don't really know. While the problem is not immediately apparent, the form is not efficient with its energy output, an issue Goku looks to address in the Cell arc. This is probably why Yamoshi wore himself out during his final battle and succumbed to his enemies. Toriyama felt the form would make the most sense with a 10 times multiplier. The problem was, Goku barely scratched a half-power Frieza with a ×20 Kaioken Kamehameha. You know, you do the math on that, that would mean Frieza would probably be at least over 40 times stronger at full power than Goku. So Toriyama settled for a 50 times increase. Funny enough though, this was not the first appearance of Super Saiyan.
I am a Saiyan, raised on Earth, who came here to defeat you. Though my heart is at peace, a fierce rage has awakened the legendary warrior inside of me. I am Son Goku.
In the Lord Slug movie, released 10 days before Super Saiyan's manga debut, we see the appearance of Pseudo Super Saiyan. Commonly referred to as False Super Saiyan, this was based on the notes Toriyama gave the staff about the actual Super Saiyan form. They didn't expect, however, that Toriyama would change Super Saiyan to blonde before the chapter came out. In this state, the user goes on a rampage, attempting to overwhelm the enemy completely. The eyes go blank with anger, and the hair stands up with orange highlights. Goku uses form to completely turn the tides on Slug for a minute before unconsciously reverting back to base. Since it's literally meant to be Super Saiyan, it more than likely carries the same increase in power. Slug in his giant form was defeated by a Kaioken times 100. Check out my obscure Dragon Ball forms video to learn more about that one. So Goku destroying him with the Kaioken does not invalidate the 50 times multiplier. He never dons the form again in the movie, so you probably can't access it at will. It's seen by the fandom as a Saiyan sort of half transforming into Super Saiyan, but guess what? We already got a form for that! Say hello to Super Saiyan Power. While Goku was in Otherworld, he donned this state to face the deceased Ginyu Force. The form was an editing correction because Goku was meant to surprise Pikkon with Super Saiyan later in the arc, so they filled in his hair and eyes black while keeping the aura golden. We know at this point Goku would have been able to handle them all in base, so it's probably meant to be that and nothing more. A Heroes card that referenced this had an ability called Super Saiyan Power, and so the name stuck. Now it's just applied to any time a Saiyan in a frame or shot is trying to go Super Saiyan, or even when they just have a yellow aura. Trunks training with Gohan, Gohan versus Kibito, Goku versus Frieza and Cell in Hell, Goku at the end of the Tournament of Power, Bojack Unbound, Vegeta fighting Broly, Goku and Vegeta versus Moro. You could even count Vidal's hair turning gold during the Super Saiyan God ritual, as, you know, she had the power of Super Saiyan flowing within her. The list just keeps on going. But the most interesting example since the original filler showed this has been in an episode of Dragon Ball Daima, where Goku fights by tapping into Super Saiyan for a brief moment, then retains the golden glow in his base form as he fights. It's a tricky form to talk about since there's no information besides it being the in-between of base and Super Saiyan. I think it's safe to say the multiplier can vary as it would depend on how much the Super Saiyan power is let out. So I guess it's anywhere from a 2 to 49 times base multiplier? It's complicated, but hey, I think that's just the form in a nutshell. When Goku and Vegeta were decimated by the androids, they both came to the conclusion that the Super Saiyan state must evolve higher. This would result in Super Saiyan Grade 2, or Ascended Super Saiyan. Vegeta would dub this form the iconic name Super Vegeta. By forcefully increasing the power of Super Saiyan beyond its normal limitations, this state is achieved. The flowing hair becomes far more spiky, and the muscle mass dramatically increases. It's not so much a different form as it is a method of brute forcing an increase in ki, dramatically improving all attributes of the original form. However, this forceful increase in power in turn would increase the ki used to maintain the form, causing Goku to deem it inefficient. In order to face greater challenges, a new path was needed to grow. Trunks' answer to this was Grade 3, sometimes referred to as Ultra Super Saiyan and Super Trunks. This pushes the initial version of Super Saiyan to its absolute limits, making the hair go wild and muscle mass increasing to the extreme. While being incredibly powerful, enough to apparently push Trunks beyond the level of Perfect Cell, its speed was disproportionate to everything else. The muscle mass was too much, making them too slow to face equal threats. This form spoke to Trunks' inexperience, as Vegeta and Goku soon found out its weakness and didn't even bother with it. Cell even demonstrates that he too can utilize the form, but understood its limitations easily, mocking Trunks for not seeing the glaring flaw. But in his own arrogance and rage fighting Gohan, he tried an even bigger variation of it and was horribly outmatched. Now we are finally at the definitive form of Super Saiyan, going by either Super Saiyan Grade 4, Mastered Super Saiyan, or Super Saiyan Full Power, before that name was taken by Broly. Going forward, this is assumed to be the default state for every Super Saiyan 1 from the Cell arc onwards. It appears almost the same as the original Super Saiyan form, but the hair is way more detailed. Goku opted for a different approach to improving Super Saiyan by focusing on ki usage. By spending the time up until the Cell games in this form, Goku and Gohan managed to control it as if it were their base state. Their emotions were now under control and the stamina drain dropped down dramatically. But not only does this improve normal Super Saiyan's pitfalls, it unlocks a load of hidden power deep within the form. Unlike the brute force nature of evolving Super Saiyan like the other grades, this nurturing method brings it to its limits. Goku and Gohan could compete with Perfect Cell in ways Vegeta and Trunks simply couldn't. In fact, according to Filler, with the mastery of Super Saiyan and an afterlife body, it's possible to stack Kaioken on top of it. Considering the fights it gets into, Mastered Super Saiyan would have to be a higher multiplier than the regular one, but there's no official measurement, so the times 50 multiplier is still typically used in power scaling. This form is essential to evolving even further beyond, as Gohan tells Shallot in Dragon Ball Legends that mastery of Super Saiyan is necessary before you can reach Super Saiyan 2. But even so, there is potential that Super Saiyan can evolve to even greater heights. Toriyama said in an interview with Saikyo Jump in 2014 that Super Saiyan 2 and 3 are nothing more than powered up variations of Super Saiyan. After the fight with Beerus, Goku realized that mastering his normal state and Super Saiyan would raise his level more and sap less strength, so I think he probably won't become a Super Saiyan 2 or 3 anymore. While this would obviously not end up being the case, it shows Toriyama considered this idea for the form, and as we see later, he would find an interesting way to implement it. Okay guys, before we go on, I thought I'd touch on some honorable Super Saiyan mentions from other media. Xenoverse created a distinction between multiple Super Saiyan forms, with Super Saiyan, an ability that lets you go 1, 2, and 3, giving you strong melee damage. Super Vegeta 1 and 2 will give you far greater Ki Blast power, and Future Super Saiyan would give you the best stamina recovery. The Demon Saiyan hybrids, like Mira and Fu, have their own super forms that resemble the Saiyan lines. There's also Metal Super Saiyan, a form the Mecha Gokus created by Bulma use in Dragon Ball Fusions. Neko Majin has the Super Neko Majin form, which he uses to face Goku and Vegeta. And finally, Hercule achieves godhood by becoming Super Mr. Satan, enabling him to face down the God of Destruction Beerus in his retelling of Battle of Gods. Super Saiyan 2 was the first true evolution of the original. While some sources consider it Grade 5 Super Saiyan, it advances every aspect to the point it cannot really be a mere upgrade. The hair stands up high with one long bang in the case of Gohan, and in Goku's case, some of his bangs join the rest of his hair. The aura becomes spiky, with bioelectricity sparking all around the user. Gohan managed to unlock it similar to how his dad unlocked Super Saiyan, by his rage turning sorrow into power. Such would also be the case for Trunks and to a lesser extent Kaba. However, while rage is usually the primary method to unlocking the previous transformation, Super Saiyan 2 has been unlocked just as much through training. Caulifla got that 2-for-1 special by unlocking Super Saiyan 2 the same day she unlocked the first form. Goku obtained the form in Otherworld, and I don't really know what would have made him get so mad up there. It's debated whether or not Babidi's Majin spell unlocked the form for Vegeta, but it's commonly believed he had the form since the start of the arc. Because even though Gohan had gotten weaker since the Cell games, he still had access to Super Saiyan 2, and yet Vegeta still counted himself as the stronger Saiyan. The form is double that of Mastered Super Saiyan, taking down Cell with ease. And even when Cell comes back with his own Super Saiyan 2 equivalent, Gohan is able to defeat him at only half power. It was considered the pinnacle of power for Saiyans at the time, only surpassed in the Buu arc by many special powers and upgrades. We even see this form enhanced high enough to be on par with Super Saiyan 3. Trunks in this form, in the Dragon Ball Super manga, showcased power rivaling Goku's Super Saiyan 3. Vegeta in the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot DLC upgraded his Super Saiyan 2 to be able to face Goku, now with a slight blue aura and sparkles. Reminds me of something. Can't quite recall. Oh well, let's move on to Super Saiyan 3. Oh, pardon me. My bad. The existence of Super Saiyan Rage is dubious at best. My second video on this channel talks all about it, so I'll just give the relevant highlights on this quote-unquote form. Out of series material believes it's either just Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan 2, barely even using the name Rage. So we at least know it must be seen behind the scenes as an improvement of one of these forms. Let's just say Super Saiyan 2 for the fact Trunks in 2 was getting destroyed, only to hold back the Zamasu duo for a time after achieving Rage. As the name suggests, it's unlocked via Rage. A very unique feature to this form, I must say. With Trunks' case being he's so angry at the accusations that he's responsible for his world's destruction. The eyes temporarily blank out until the user gains control of the form, and the aura is a bright yellow with a blue secondary aura within it. It could be seen as essentially a grade for Super Saiyan 2, or an outright evolution. Its strength put Trunks, for a time, on the level of Goku Black. And once he gathered everyone's energy for the Spirit Sword, even Fuse Zamasu was unable to stop him. Many questions aren't and will never be answered about this form, leaving it quite the mystery. But now it's time to go even further beyond. The true next step in the Super Saiyan evolution line would come in the form of Super Saiyan 3, also known as Ultra Vegeta 1. The eyebrows disappear, the hair grows to an absurd length, and black irises may appear in the pupils, depending on the person. This form draws out every last bit of power from the user, down to every drop of blood. It cannot be used for long, and leaves the user completely drained through overuse. It's just not something that can truly be mastered, as its very foundation is about burning away your energy to attain insane strength. Even a fusion has its time cut down significantly compared to normal while in this form. The multiplier for this form is 4 times that of Super Saiyan 2, meaning 8 times stronger than Super Saiyan and 400 times stronger than the base form. A Super Saiyan 2 stood no chance against Majin Buu, but Goku says that if he wanted, he could have actually beat him with 3. It was initially only attained under special circumstances, like Goku training with a dead body in the afterlife for 7 years, or the fusion between 2 Saiyan hybrid prodigies. Even Raditz in Super Dragon Ball Heroes attained the form by wandering through parallel dimensions. I guess maybe the traumatic experience to his body just helped him unlock it. I don't know. Games would give the form to plenty of other characters, but it wasn't until Daima that we learned it was possible to obtain through intense training. Though, Vegeta does have more natural potential than Goku, as proven by their first fight, so perhaps that plays a factor? This form was the peak of natural Saiyan potential in the original manga, and pretty much all media, until... Since the Grade 8 form is separate from the Super Saiyan line, it became possible to combine both forms together, resulting in the Golden Grade 8. In Dragon Ball Z filler, Vegeta recalls the legend of the Super Saiyan, and it is shown as a giant Uzaru with yellow fur and red eyes. This lines up with the Golden Great Ape, who matches the description exactly. Whether this means the Golden Uzaru was a real thing in Saiyan history or not, if it was like a form Yamoshi took on, we don't know. Interestingly though, Goku did not need the moon for this form, and looking at the Earth provided the necessary Blutz waves to transform. He couldn't defeat Baby as a Super Saiyan 3, but when he upgraded into Golden Monkey mode, Baby could barely even get near him. It's more than likely thanks to the combination of Super Saiyan and Great Ape's multipliers, making it a 500 times multiplier from base. But the Golden Great Ape is only a stepping stone to a much greater power. Once the user of the Golden Great Ape regains control of their reasoning, the power of the form condenses into a smaller humanoid shape. This is Super Saiyan 4, the ultimate embodiment of a Saiyan's natural abilities. The form's appearance varies between users, as while all of them have dark blonde hair, eyeliner, and red fur covering the body, the specifics of the colors are different. Here's a little fun trivia fact. Trunks was initially planned to be a Super Saiyan 4 in Dragon Ball Heroes, but because they couldn't decide on his hair color, they scrapped the whole thing and made him a Super Saiyan God. According to the GT Perfect file, this form effectively unlocks the potential of a Saiyan, similar to the Old Kai ritual or Guru. The perfect file also states the form made the small child body of GT Goku age up into an adult again because the form returns the Saiyan to their prime. Maybe that's why Vegeta got a better haircut. Unlike Super Saiyan 3, this form seems to lack the large stamina drain, allowing the user to stay in the form for extended periods of time. However, this doesn't prevent the acceleration of the fusion timer, so that's still like 15 minutes compared to the half hour it normally can do. Baby was also unable to achieve the form in Vegeta's body because his presence there interfered with Vegeta's cellular makeup. The form seems to have some interesting special properties, like how Goku is able to absorb Baby's Revenge Death Ball and turn it into a ×10 Kamehameha. It also has a special Zenkai-esque property that Goku revealed to Ice Shenron, where his body memorizes an attack and immediately adapts to it. Because after icing him once, Ice Shenron decides to try and freeze him again, only for Goku to be like,
"That don't work. There's no way out of this one. You're done."
Basically, the same attack won't work on him twice, so no spamming. While the multiplier is never stated, there are multiple interpretations of its power. Some sources state that Vegito from the Buu arc may still be stronger. While it's assumed to mean Super Vegito, you could argue the statement refers to a hypothetical Super Saiyan 3 Vegito. Super Dragon Ball Heroes presents Capsule Corp Goku, who's essentially just Dragon Ball Super Goku, and Xeno Goku as the same strength base to base. When they reach their diverging forms, Super Saiyan 4 forces Capsule Corp Goku to go Super Saiyan Blue, implying they are of similar strength. In Xenoverse 2, if you select Goku as your partner for the Extra Pack 2 DLC story, you can witness Resurrection F Goku as a Super Saiyan 4 be comparable to Super Saiyan Blue Goku from the Tournament of Power. Obviously, that would mean Super Saiyan 4 is a far greater multiplier than Blue. All of this should be taken with a grain of salt, of course, but you know, these things come from official sources, so it's worth sharing. There is a next level to the form known as Super Full Power Saiyan 4. This is achieved by the user being given a lot of Saya power through other Saiyans to transcend their limits. The only notable difference between regular Super Saiyan 4 is a red glow around the user. However, the next step to this power is another form entirely. And this one has a mouthful of a name, officially being called Super Full Power Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker. I'll probably just call it Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker from here on out, if even that. The form gains a magenta aura, and the hair becomes scarlet red with darker hues to balance it out. It really depends on the user for minor differences though, just like with regular Super Saiyan 4. Much like the last power-up Super Saiyan 4 had, Limit Breaker is created through Saiyans donating power to the user. In the case of Xeno Goku and Vegeta, Capsule Corp Goku and Vegeta donated energy in Super Saiyan Blue. Potentially their divine energy is what made this form possible, but there's nothing suggesting this form has any god ki at all. Also, this form can be freely accessed again once achieved. It's shown to be a match for Capsule Corp Goku's Ultra Instinct Sign, but loses out to Perfected Ultra Instinct. And before we move on though, there's still one more Super Saiyan 4 we gotta talk about. That's right, Super Saiyan 4 from Dragon Ball Daima. While researching this, I finally found confirmation from Nakatsuru that this was Toriyama's take on the form. He said in an interview, this time, in Daima, it was Toriyama-sensei who designed Super Saiyan 4. He drew it in a way that made it the Super Saiyan 4 of Daima. So that was cool to know, as I felt the goofy touches to it were something only he could come up with. While pretty similar in appearance to the one from GT, there are quite a few differences to Daima's take on the form in comparison. The hair and body fur are now a pinkish red together, the eyes are bright red, and the forearms plus hands are enormous. Unlike in GT, the form does not age up the user, so it's shown as both a child and adult. This time, it does not need the control of the Grade 8 form to achieve, and seems to simply be a natural progression of Super Saiyan 3. After his battle with Majin Buu, Goku intensely trained and knew a new form was possible, but was unsure on how to achieve it. With the help of Neva awakening the dormant power within him, the form bursts from his awakened blood. But I wouldn't rule out the idea that it utilizes the Yuzaru, because in a way, every Saiyan form does. Once Goku unlocked his potential from drinking the Ultra Divine water from Korin, his full power was displayed with the imagery of the Great Ape. Everything behind his strongest attacks were accentuated with the power of the Yuzaru. The anime of Dragon Ball Z would only enhance this by adding roars behind Super Saiyan 1 and 2's initial scream, and Super Saiyan 3's transformation sequence showcases a Great Ape roaring. In the middle of the transformation, Goku will don red eyes, similar to how users of the Great Ape will first gain the red eyes. The way Goku fights with this form is wild and animalistic, running on all fours and throwing his opponents like ragdolls. Through his battle with Goma, we witness its power, seeing Goku do more damage than all of his allies combined. Goku's final attack is a gigantic Kamehameha that pierces Goma and goes through every demon world. We do not know exactly how big the demon realm is in Daima, old sources showing that it's like a universe in its own right, but we at least know it's massive enough to hold many planets in each realm, so that speaks to the Kamehameha's great power. The form is all about the wild and unpredictable nature of a Saiyan, and I love it for that. I thought I'd just go ahead and throw this on the list for fun. And just so you know, I'm gonna be referring to the Tuffles by their Japanese name, the Sufurians, just to, you know, go ahead and clear that up. This is when a Sufurian machine mutant parasite, like Baby, possesses a Saiyan and unlocks new levels of power. The Super Saiyan form initially remains unchanged, but eventually the pupils turn black, red lines appear throughout the eyes and face, and the hair turns white. Even in just this basic Super Saiyan state, Baby Vegeta easily handled Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Once other Saiyans donate their energy to the mutant hybrid, they can unlock Strongest Form 1, also called Super Baby 1. The hair becomes spikier, gold structures appear from the shoulders and upper back, and the red marks start appearing on the chest. The eyes also become completely like Baby's, emblematic of the parasite's total takeover. This can be seen as the Super Saiyan 2 equivalent of this evolution line. When given even more power though, they can transcend into Strongest Form 2 or Super Baby 2. The body is covered in a spandex suit, now with a white breastplate and the golden armor forming into a jacket. The eyebrows disappear and the hair forms into a similar shape to Baby's real head. You can view this as the equivalent to Super Saiyan 3, and you know, how poetic is it that it loses to Super Saiyan 4. But the parasite can go even one step further. If they are given enough concentrated Blutz waves, they can become a golden Great Ape, even without a tail. The mindless nature of the form can be overcome through the parasite's control of the host, but this control cannot lead to the creation of Super Saiyan 4 due to the infection disrupting the body. In Super Dragon Ball Heroes, the Universe 6 Sufurian machine mutant Orin took over the body of Vegeta, sporting a similar appearance to Baby Vegeta. But we don't really get to know how strong he is, cause he just kind of bullies Trunks a bit and then gets blitzed by Ultra Instinct Saiyan Goku. And now we start a new line of forms, beginning with the Wrathful state. This is the form Broly used to fight Goku and Vegeta before going Super Saiyan. His pupils turn yellow, and while the hair remains identical to the base form for a time, it will eventually spike up like a Super Saiyan. It's actually the utilization of the Great Ape's power, assumedly resulting in a 10 times increase to the user's strength. Throughout the fight, Broly adapted to his opponents in base before God Vegeta eventually destroyed him, but with the Wrathful form he was able to overcome Super Saiyan God and fight on par with Super Saiyan Blue. One glaring flaw is that all users lose control over themselves, just like those untrained in the power of the Great Ape. According to the Super Broly light novel, being in the form itself is a painful experience, with Broly's screams resulting from pain rather than anger. The games treat it as if it were Broly's base form, and so it comes into question whether this is a separate form or simply a state his base can access. Might be similar to Goku using the Great Ape power in base during the King Piccolo arc. The form still has a few mysteries left to solve, and maybe one day we'll find out more in the future. But as we know, this form is a sign of the things to come. Now time for the original Blue Super Saiyan, referred to as Super Saiyan A-Type, or Controlled Super Saiyan. This was the form Z Broly had under the influence of Paragus' mind control crown. It wasn't so much created from this control, as it was made by Broly's attempts to resist and break free. Its appearance gives the user blue hair and blue eyes, but interestingly though, at night, both appear purple. It should be noted that this is Broly's legendary Super Saiyan form being suppressed, and potentially a regular Super Saiyan may appear normal under mind control, considering the case of Majin Vegeta. I know Majin Vegeta wasn't completely under Babidi's control, but neither was Broly under Paragus's. Even suppressed though, the power Broly had in this form was enough to wipe away the South Galaxy in seconds. Similar to his final form, Broly here also seemed to constantly increase in power, adapting to attacks that initially hurt him. Vegeta in Super Saiyan Grade 2 couldn't even scratch him or make him flinch. The power couldn't be contained for long though, and soon, the dreadful power would awaken. In Broly's second coming though, we see what the state looks like unrestricted from the crown, donning the name Super Saiyan C-type. In flashbacks, we see this form stylized with pink hair, yet in the present, it's simply pale yellow like most Super Saiyans. Kale would also unlock this form during the Tournament of Power anime. Now, it's a little bit confusing, but these right here are actually two different forms of Kale. The first form she uses to help Caulifla fight the Pride Troopers is most likely Super Saiyan C-type, as she powers back up to her Berserk state during the Beam Clash. This would imply her Berserk state was more powerful than the previous form, making this very similar to Broly. Now here we are, the legendary Super Saiyan, also known as Super Saiyan B-type, fitting in with the other Broly names. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to count Kale's Super Saiyan Berserk and Super Broly's Super Saiyan forms in the same category as this, as they all function nearly the same with minor differences. In Universe 6 folklore, this is considered to be the legendary Saiyan, a demonic monster who appears to rampage every 1,000 years. The user bulks up to the extreme, they lose their pupils, and the hair becomes green. In the case of Dragon Ball Super's Broly, his hair is yellow until he goes full power. Kale in the manga doesn't become quite as muscular, but there is a significant increase in muscle mass. Z Broly literally exploded out of his previous form, like it was a shell containing his true self. It's suggested that this is the final evolution of the Super Saiyan graded forms, surpassing the limits of power and speed Grade 3 had. Its power is so great that the world is physically affected by the aura output, and the user must constantly expel energy in order to avoid self-destructing. In the case of manga Kale, the form was taxing on her health, eventually leading to her ki, stamina, and life energy draining away. If not stopped in time, she most likely would have perished. As evidenced by Z Broly's return in the sequel movie, the form must have some insane regenerative abilities, as he had to recover from a mid-section explosion. I mean, think about it, that guy came back with just a couple, cat scratches on his tummy. You blew up, man, where's the scar? The power varies between appearances, initially shown as Z Broly taking on all the Android Arc Z fighters at once until they gave their energy to Goku. Some of the games portray this Broly as nervous fighting Super Saiyan 2 Goku, but in Second Coming, Gohan was no match for him. Even the Goo Guy was somehow more powerful than the other Brolys. Other media would portray this form of Z Broly being able to take on characters from Super, with Hit and Jiren needing to team up to take him down in Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Z movie story writer Takao Koyama has said that he believes Broly is the strongest character from the Z movies and Z anime. That would put him over the likes of Janemba, Hirudegarn, and even Buhan. I mean, originally Beerus, Whis, and Golden Frieza came from Z movies, but let's not get too crazy. This should all obviously be taken with a grain of salt, but it is the Z movie story writer who said this once, and so I felt his take was worth sharing, obviously. Kale in Berserk was able to walk off a Super Saiyan Blue Kamehameha, and Super Broly was more than a match for Blue Goku, Blue Vegeta, and Golden Frieza at the same time. It took a Super Saiyan Blue fusion in order to finally put a stop to him. When fighting Goku with Caulifla, Kale managed to attain a controlled version of the Berserk state, and never returns to the Walking Broly reference from before. Official sources call this her Super Saiyan 2, and these Berserk forms would be utilized by their fusion Kefla. When used by Kale, it was able to push Goku to Super Saiyan God. Now, some people like to claim Goku was just super tired here and completely drained of his stamina. Then other people say this Goku actually got a huge Senkai, and so this Goku is way stronger than Goku earlier in the tournament. It's all over the place, just like the tournament. Super Broly would also master this form while training on Beerus' planet, being a decent match for Beast Gohan. The legendary form can be applied to the other Saiyan states as well, including Super Saiyan 3, Golden Grade Ape, Super Saiyan 4, and Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker. But there is one more unique form that Broly has that I feel needs mentioning. This one debuted in Dragon Ball Z, the real 4D at Super Tenkaichi Budokai, only known as God Broly. It looks very similar to Super Saiyan 3, but with more hair sticking straight up, longer bangs, and retaining his eyebrows. With the powers of a god, even Super Saiyan Blue Goku is nothing compared to him. Goku then fuses with the audience, yes, you, me, anyone else watching this, on the 4D ride and is able to defeat the demon. A very mysterious form for sure, one that I thought at least deserves a spot on here. Now we hit the first stage of deity forms, with Super Saiyan God. It appears similar to the base form, but with red eyes, red hair, and far skinnier. This is meant to present a sort of youthfulness to the user, as they essentially have been reborn into a new realm of power. The demeanor of the user also becomes more relaxed and calm. Much like bringing Super Saiyan 4 to its full power state, Super Saiyan God utilizes a ritual to come into being. When 5 pure-hearted Saiyans donate their power into a 6th one, they transcend beyond the limits of any normal Saiyan form and into the realm of gods. But apparently, due to either being part of the ritual initially or experience facing God Ki, Vegeta is able to unlock the form through training with Whis. The legend surrounding this form is complex, as Yamoshi's ghost sought out the form after his death. A user must have existed in the past though, as Shallot and Giblet descend from the blood of the original Super Saiyan God. Namekians learned about this story and wrote about it in the Namekian Book of Legends, one day being the key to creating a new god. God throughout Super is utilized as a cost-effective fallback for Super Saiyan Blue. Goku and Vegeta use it to save stamina and employ fighting styles that exploit enemy weaknesses rather than simply overpowering their foe. In the Super anime, it was capable of regeneration unseen by Goku's other forms, and in the movie, it could absorb Beerus' Death Ball. The only weakness this form has is a time limit, but after training, it seems this weakness disappears. Its power is on a whole other level compared to the traditional forms before it, with Goku confident in fighting Beerus despite believing fusing into Vegeta wouldn't be strong enough. Just like with the Super Saiyan 4 statement, you could potentially apply this to a hypothetical Super Saiyan 3 Vegito. The anime and manga portrayed that its power could destroy the entire universe, even carrying on into the afterlife. An outdated scale from the Battle of Gods movie puts God Goku at a level of 6, while Beerus and Whis are 10 and 15 respectively. I see this form as the Saiyan's body creating a way to artificially utilize God Ki. It's not from the Super Saiyan line, but a separate thing entirely. I'll expand on other examples of this later, but we see a direct example of this very soon. Before we get to that though, I figure there is a certain thing we need to address before moving on. Have you ever heard of, or do you remember, Saiyan Beyond God? It's a state that was for sure a real thing at one point, but now its existence is up in the air. Like, maybe it still exists and applies, or maybe it doesn't. I don't know, man. It's what happened to Goku when he absorbed the power of Super Saiyan God into his base and was still able to give Beerus a good fight as a simple Super Saiyan 1. It was named after an ability from a Heroes card referencing Goku's base form in Resurrection F, and it just kind of stuck as the name. In the ROF manga, Goku is shown punching with the power of Super Saiyan God behind his fists, and the Super anime showed that mastering this state was required to control God Ki and unlock Super Saiyan Blue. It should be said, however, that Krillin could no longer sense Goku when he went Super Saiyan Blue, implying this state just has normal Ki. The power of this form is literally Super Saiyan God applied to base, meaning although Frieza in his first form could one-shot Super Saiyan Gohan, final form Frieza could still struggle with base Goku. During the all-time famous Copy Vegeta arc, Copy Vegeta himself in base destroys Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks with ease, yet he needed to face Super Saiyan Blue Goku with his own blue form. It's also implied that, due to the fact he can face Super Saiyan 2 Goku and Blue Vegeta to an extent, Goku Black also has this state, thanks to stealing Goku's body. Xenoverse 2 establishes that certain kinds of dark magic cannot affect a Saiyan who has once become a god. Being a fellow deity means that the power of God apparently protected Goku from the demon god sorcery. However, few would go on to prove in Xenoverse 2 that the god forms are not beyond control or corruption. Perhaps because it's not bound to specifically godly magic and is some, time magic shenanigans. The existence of Saiyan beyond God is still up in the air, as pretty much every other character, including other Saiyans, can fight Goku and Vegeta base to base, and even push them into their god forms. I'm unclear if the intention is that every character they face is also a universe level monster, just holding back carefully. I don't know. The Dragon Ball Super manga does not fall into this power scaling ditch thanks to just never mentioning that Goku absorbs God into his base, therefore it probably doesn't exist there. And here we are, debuting in Resurrection F and becoming the poster child for Dragon Ball Super, it's Super Saiyan Blue. Initially called Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, it's exactly as the name implies. A combination of Super Saiyan God and stacking Super Saiyan on top of it. Showing the relation between them is like the Golden Great Ape form. This is essentially the result of Toriyama saying Goku does not need Super Saiyan 2 or 3 anymore, and that regular Super Saiyan is all he needs. On the decision of making the hair blue, he had this to say: "In Battle of Gods, it was red, so I figured for Revival of F, I should go with blue. That's all." Well, actually I was thinking about having it be white, but then it would color clash with the next enemy, so I figured I should save it for another occasion. It's really funny to hear him talk about blue like this, considering what he said during the Battle of Gods era on why he made Super Saiyan God red. Simply because it's a strong looking color. I had already used gold, and blue doesn't look very strong. Visually speaking, red really is easy to understand. Oh Toriyama, that lovable goofball. On the very first time entering the form, the user is covered in their ki like a shell, breaking open once the transformation is complete. In the anime, this form allows for excellent ki control, allowing Goku to utilize Kaioken on top of it. This is partially due to the calm, focused mindset it provides. Not that the user still can't get angry, but just that the mind is not clouded with anger by default. It's a bit inconsistent, but for 100% certainty in the manga, Super Saiyan Blue taxes the user's stamina greatly. This results in multiple uses in a battle, reducing the power to 10% of what it was before. Funny enough, this makes the power scale weird, as we could assume Super Saiyan Blue is 50 times God, yet Super Saiyan God Goku performed better than a Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta at 10% of his power, despite them being relative in strength. That's only the manga though, so don't take that universally. This weakness can be mitigated by short bursts of the form combined with Super Saiyan God. However, Goku managed to find another way to handle the form while fighting Zamasu in the manga. While in the anime, it's unclear if the form truly gets perfected, the manga makes it a plot-significant moment that Super Saiyan Blue becomes mastered. By containing and harnessing the aura of Blue, Goku is able to both increase the power of the form while also lessening the stamina drain. Since the stamina drain isn't really addressed in the anime, it's safe to assume it more or less goes with this version by default. However, when Goku first utilized the form, he hadn't really practiced with it, so it left an incredible strain on his body. If the user is unable to contain the ki inside, they risk damaging themselves greatly. But the energy can be concentrated into a single point, like your hand, and unleash devastating techniques. In the case of Goku, he was able to perform the Hakai on Merge Zamasu. Once the form is truly perfected, the immense strain is gone, and it becomes a powerful tool. After Beerus defeated Vegeta in a sparring match, he told him the Saiyan strength was suitable for a God of Destruction candidate. And Goku, during the Tournament of Power in the manga at least, was able to overcharge his ki, resulting in a boost similar to the Kaioken technique. But Vegeta found a way to push past this barrier and reach an all-new form of Blue. Time for the blindingly brilliant Royal Blue. Wait a minute, that's not the right name. Oh, my bad, it's Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. I should definitely think about making a video about fan theories and names when Super was airing, because that was such a funny time, man. This form is born from a Saiyan who achieves blue, breaking past their limits into a whole new state. Their hair grows larger and turns dark blue along with the eyes. The muscles grow larger, giving the appearance of a Grade 2 Super Saiyan. But since the form is beyond Mastered Super Saiyan Blue, it's probably more like a Super Saiyan 2 equivalent. The increase in power is treated as comparable to Kaioken for Vegeta, performing on par with the technique. When Toppo activated his God of Destruction form, Blue Evolution was able to compete with, and even surpass it, proving for sure that Vegeta had entered the realm of the Gods of Destruction. Its defenses were strong enough to even guard against Hakais with ease. It could even somehow surpass his own self-destruct move. I'm not even really sure how that works, considering the whole point of a self-destruct is pushing your ki beyond what your body can handle to the point where you explode. But hey, it's a stated feat. It seems the trigger for this form is through strong resolve. As in the anime, Vegeta did it to fulfill his promise to Kaba, and in the manga, it was out of frustration that Goku had surpassed him with Ultra Instinct. Either way, this was his first step in his own personal journey. No longer following the same path as Goku, this new road would lead him down one of pure power. Now here's a fan favorite, Super Saiyan Rosé. Named after rosé wine like the other gods and angels introduced in Super, it's the form taken when a deity's soul inhabits the body of a Saiyan. It sports pink hair and gray eyes. Even Goku Black's dark-colored ki techniques become pink after entering the form. He attains this as he learns to control Goku's body and gain access to his many power-ups. He shows a level of natural regeneration unlike normal Saiyans, able to constantly get Zenkais from every confrontation he's injured in. In the manga, Trunks makes it clear Goku and Vegeta are at their physical peaks and more than likely cannot gain Zenkai boosts anymore. If true, Zamasu was able to bypass that limit and essentially rebirth the body into a fresh Saiyan with an all-access pass to Zenkais. Fused Zamasu, despite the white hair, perpetually stays in Rosé. As Elder Kai stated before, once you fuse with Potara while transformed, your body will stay like that forever. The manga follows Toriyama's concept of the form, with Goku Black able to use Super Saiyan in conjunction with it. Even with normal Super Saiyan, Goku Black was able to fight on par with Blue Vegeta. Zamasu's statement implies when a mortal surpasses God, they gain the blue form, but when a deity does, they will attain Rosé. You know, maybe if Goku accepted that job offer from Kami, we'd be seeing a Rosé Goku today. What this form exactly is in the anime remains up for debate, as Goku Black in base is able to push back Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, and we never see him go Super Saiyan before he becomes Rosé. Some information states Super Saiyan Rosé in the anime is simply his regular Super Saiyan. It just has God Ki because Zamasu's soul naturally has it. The video game content may run with this interpretation, as there are a few advancements to the form thanks to Super Dragon Ball Heroes. As the Crimson Mass Saiyan, Goku Black exists in a pseudo-universe, a mirror dimension to Universe 7, with everything contained being linked to their real-world counterparts. Here, he builds his strength by defeating 99 alternate timeline Gokus, getting stronger each time. With this, he eventually unlocks Super Saiyan Rosé 2 and 3, and is revealed to be immortal. Since we have yet to see Goku or Vegeta get an actual Blue 2 or 3, it's safe to assume this runs on the idea that Rosé is Black's regular Super Saiyan form. After being obliterated, he returns as Super Saiyan Rosé Full Power. Visually, it seems like a halfway point between Super Saiyan 3 and 4, because despite the long hair, he has his eyebrows and a tail. The reason for his immortality is revealed to be that his entire being is made out of pure energy. As long as he doesn't run out of ki, he will never truly be destroyed and will still gain Zenkai boosts. But in the end, he lacked the ki to regenerate forever and was stopped for good. And speaking of heroes forms, it's time for my favorite, the Evil Saiyan form. First shown with Cumber, who is always in this state, the form generates a red and black aura for maximum edginess. He was more than likely born with or infected to this state. Meanwhile, Turles ate enough fruit of the Tree of Might and somehow got it that way. While we don't know Cumber's design outside of the form, Turles showed that it increases the user's hair by a similar length to Super Saiyan 3. It is able to be combined with other forms, and leads to the creation of Super Saiyan 3 Full Power, Cumber's strongest form. The evil aura can infect other Saiyans as well, leading to Super Saiyan Berserk, Super Saiyan Blue Berserk, and Vegeta mastering the state as Super Saiyan Blue Berserk Controlled. The actual power this form provides is all over the place, as you'd expect. Cumber with Super Saiyan 3 was comparable to Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and the full power state allowed him to fight God of Destruction Toppo. In Super Saiyan, he managed to show insane recoverability by getting half of his stomach destroyed by Golden Metal Cooler, being incinerated by 4 supernovas, and somehow living to fight another day after this. Turles with his power-up was able to fight on par with Cumber's full might, but even his base was comparable to Super Saiyan God. Okay, I think we're good to move off the hero forms now. Almost an hour in, but hey, we're at the home stretch, baby. Now it's time for Ultra Instinct Sign, or Omen, Mr. John Limit Breaker himself. As the name says, this is the initial stage of Ultra Instinct, a technique utilized by the angels. Even the gods of destruction have a hard time attaining it, with Beerus having a very unrefined version. You may wonder why I count this as a Saiyan form, but I believe this and the other godly forms are examples of the Saiyan's ability to adapt to new powers and create forms to compensate. The gods naturally have God Ki, but Saiyans do not, so the body invents forms to be able to handle it. Same situation here, as I believe Ultra Instinct truly boils down what a Saiyan form is in concept. Onto Sign though, the Saiyan's hair remains the same to their base, but it spikes up slightly and silver highlights adorn it. The eyes become silver and laser focused. The aura is stated to radiate intense heat, contrasted heavily by an eerie calmness. It's achieved by breaking the shell of limitations, portrayed in the anime by taking on the Spirit Bomb, while the manga shows Goku remembering everything his masters taught him. The main principle of Ultra Instinct is letting your body react to danger subconsciously, as this removes the lag time between information sent to the brain and thinking how to react. It's hard to maintain, and the user must keep a calm mind according to the manga. Even Vegeta, who receives the same training with Whis as Goku, is unable to enter the Sign state. While only the initial stage of the form, it vastly outclasses what Goku could do as a Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20. The world of the Void, a place with literally no time or space, shakes at the power of the form. And as the fighting continues and Goku keeps regaining the form, it becomes even more powerful each time as he starts mastering it. Or perhaps, Goku becomes more powerful in base every time he breaks limits with the form. Regardless of what interpretation you go with, he goes from slightly pushing Jiren to being comparable to him in like 20 minutes. But he then outright surpasses the muscle machine once he awakens. The real form of Ultra Instinct. Whether you go by completed, mastered, perfected, or something else, it is the full form. Even so, Goku is still only at a basic level, below the Angels and Grand Priest. So who knows if Goku will evolve it to a new level? He probably will. The only difference to Sign is that the hair becomes completely silver. In the anime, the birth of the form is a spectacular moment where a galaxy-shaped energy envelops and sheds away into the new form, blowing away any remnants of Goku's shirt. In the manga, both times Goku reached this state felt like the calm after a storm and unnervingly quiet. The speed and reflexes of this form are on another level, and the power can match and surpass the strongest of foes. The fighting style of the user employs a lot of air pressure blasts and even telekinesis. In the manga, it can also grow a giant ki construct in the shape of its user to restrain opponents. Sources have claimed this could potentially surpass Beerus by the tournament of power. While it's clear those age poorly, it's clear the gods of destruction are not above being surpassed by powers like this. Whis claims with this technique it's possible to take on any opponent. It's very difficult to maintain though, as it requires a calm mind and very intense focus. While it is possible to utilize your emotions to an extent, it's a very tricky balance. And if used for too long without proper mastery, the effects can be devastating on the body. Despite the drawbacks, and Goku now able to utilize the technique in small doses in his weaker forms, this is still his strongest form, and it will always be on backup. But Goku found a compromise for when he cannot enter the perfected state. This being true Ultra Instinct. It's essentially returning to the Sign form, but Goku is able to utilize his emotions with it. His fighting style becomes far more wild and unpredictable, able to channel his anger and rage with the power of Sign. While still draining, it at least evens the odds out when unable to use the full potential of the real form. Here we find the polar opposite to Ultra Instinct, Ultra Ego. After some roundabout training with Beerus, this was Vegeta's new path to power. It turns the eyes and hair purple, and the eyebrows go missing. This is meant to harness destruction energy, and I see it as similar to Toppo's God of Destruction transformation. With it, Vegeta utilizes the power of the Hakai in some of his ki blasts, and becomes far more violent. Instead of avoiding getting hit like with Ultra Instinct, the goal of Ultra Ego is to take hits and use an enhanced version of the Zenkai boost to improve yourself. This obviously holds the weakness that they still accrue damage during the form, and their lust for battle makes them even more careless about taking said damage. But if used right, it's a powerful tool, and I'm curious to see how it evolves in the future. And that's just about it for all the Saiyan forms. I talked about every relevant one I could think of, trying to leave no stone unturned. Oh wait, come to think of it, there is one I haven't talked about. It's practically the theme of Saiyans as a whole, and that's Potential Unleashed. Now you may be thinking, hold on. Now how is that a Saiyan form? That's universal, anyone can get that, whether it's from Guru, the Elder Kai, or anyone else. Even Krillin got one. You're right, quite right, it's not exclusive to Saiyans. But guess what? Neither is God Ki or Ultra Instinct. I want to go over how potential unlocks pertain to Saiyans as a way to close out this video. As I've said before, when we see Goku's potential unlock in Dragon Ball, it is showcased as the power of the Uzaru sleeping within. Super Saiyan forms, especially 3 and 4, are considered unleashing the very potential of the user to its maximum. Ultra Instinct is all about breaking the shell to a Saiyan's limits. But there is one little rapscallion we know who is truly the potential man of Dragon Ball. We see time and time again that Gohan's hybrid nature gives him far greater potential than any other Saiyan, as something about the genes of a human and Saiyan result in something incredibly strong. His hidden strength that his other forms were most likely drawing out, could take him beyond Super Saiyan 3 Goku in the Buu arc. I know there's debates about that, but I'm settling on him being stronger than Goku for the sake of explaining the form. With his ultimate form, which looked barely different to his base, he no longer had to worry about transforming into Super Saiyan and could essentially utilize most of his power in this new state. Much like how Goku could harness the Great Ape, and Toriyama says Super Saiyan 1 can be trained to use the power of 2 and 3. Depending on the material, Gohan can even stack Super Saiyan on top of this, but that doesn't seem to be the case for Super. In the manga, he's able to even take on Kefla, and the fight ends in a draw. But when he fought Goku in the anime, he said that Ultimate was not his final goal, but a power no one has ever seen before. Enter Beast. When Gohan donned the form, it was a clear homage to his Super Saiyan 2 state. We don't know what it would look like on others, so we're gonna have to take Xenoverse's word for now that it sends all your hair straight up to an absurd length and leaves one giant long bang. The hair becomes white and the eyes glow red, reminiscent of the limited colors version of Super Saiyan Goku. And when all hope is lost, and he's ran out of all his moves, he can channel the power of the form into his iconic Beast Axe. Let's do some quick power scaling. The Gammas were considered relative to Goku and Vegeta in power. Now it might be ridiculous to say that means Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego, so let's go with the safe bet and say Super Saiyan Blue. Gohan could compete with Gamma 1, and Orange Piccolo surpasses Gamma 2. When Cell Max defeats Orange Piccolo and causes Gohan to go Beast Mode, Cell Max can't even budge him. Gohan then effortlessly defeats Cell and proves he is in the upper tier of power in the verse. Once Gohan gets invited to train on Beerus's planet, he proves that he's comparable to Goku. But eventually, Goku's experience and skill in Ultra Instinct proves too much, and Gohan places relatively below him. This is all because of Gohan's potential, thanks to him being part Saiyan. This level of innate strength is present within all hybrid Saiyans, and it seems the dilution of Saiyan blood does not affect their ability to tap into that power. Goten, Trunks, Pan, Goku Jr., Vegeta Jr., the Saiyan descendants of Dragon Ball Online, all of these show the insane potential the Saiyans have. Even if the pure-blooded members go extinct, their legacy will continue to live on. And not only live on, but become stronger than they ever could. And that's really all I wanted to highlight in this video, as the Saiyan forms are all about their ability to adapt, overcome, and thrive. I've explained in my very first video on this channel that the Saiyans became weak, and under Frieza, their growth was stunted. But the survivors of this extinction fostered generations that had insane potential, and they all eventually start to reach forms that the Saiyans of old may have once had. That's what makes these collection of forms so interesting to break down, as it shows the infinite possibilities available to these characters. There will be plenty of more forms in the future, so I want to bookmark where we are now as a testament to the immediate post-Daima era. Now let's just look at all dem forms lined up in a tree, shall we? Ta-da! My goodness, that's quite a lot, isn't it? Some of these forms could connect to other forms on the tree, and so maybe this isn't 100% accurate, obviously, but I hope I laid it out well enough to understand. Oh man, this video took a long time to make, longer than I expected, but I think it turned out the way I wanted. Thank you to anyone sticking around for my longest video yet, over an hour. Let me know if I missed anything, cause you know I probably did, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace out!